What is going on, traders? Welcome back to the Traveling Trader. Happy Friday to you. Let us get right into it. I'll talk about Bitcoin's price as well as go over a few other cryptocurrencies, including Ripple, and then I'll talk about the stock market at the end of the video. So let's get right into it. Looking at the cryptocurrency market cap, we're currently sitting at 216 bill. Nothing remarkable, really. We keep teetering back and forth between this level and about 225. A few of the big winners, at least against BTC. BNB's up 13% over the last week. Bitcoin SV, God knows why, is up 11%. Stellar's up 10%. XRP's up 12%. And like I said, we'll talk about XRP in a second and look at the chart. And then to round up the top 30, BAT is up 22%. We actually had a trade alert on BAT, and BAT continues to look rather bullish. However, it's stuck at this resistance level here at around 2867 sats. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description, where I send out these alerts as well as all of the levels that I'm looking at for each of these coins and stocks. But yeah, I mean, BAT continues to look bullish. If you look at the volume compared to other coins at the moment, we have some green healthy volume coming in, but it is stuck at this 2867 level, which was the short-term target that I had. So I did set a trailing stop here in case we start dipping. I want to book those profits, but the mini golden cross looks like it's about to happen on BAT as well. All right, so let us take a look at Bitcoin. Here I'm looking at XBT, which is basically the perpetual swap contract on BitMEX. And the reason is because I did have a long on Bitcoin at 77.90, so just shy of 7,800. And if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I've been basically playing this very tight range here, longing at around 7,800 and shorting at around 8,500. And it's been very profitable over the last few weeks because, you know, this is essentially a very tight range that's very easy to read. And, you know, you don't risk a lot by playing these swings at the support and the resistance levels, because you could set your stop if you're longing just below support, and you could set your stop if you're shorting just above resistance, and you have very little to lose. And you know, over time, you do this 3, 4, 5 times and you profit. The 5th or 6th time that you do it, you know, if it doesn't pan out, you exit with minimal harm. Obviously, leverage trading does involve more risk because your losses could be magnified. So make sure you know what you're doing in terms of setting your stop limits, etc. But I was pretty pissed because if you look at the low here, it's 77.99, and I had my long set up at 77.90. I still think we'll get there, but you know, I could have made an easy 20% in a few minutes. And again, I do send these out in the trade alerts. Link is in the description. But looking at Bitcoin on the daily, you know, it is forming this very tight channel, and without volume coming in, and we'll look at the volume in a second, but without volume coming in, Bitcoin doesn't have a good history of riding these moving averages. I've talked about this before, but if you look at Bitcoin's history, every time that it's tried to ride just below a moving average, like we did back here at the end of 2018, we do see it tanking. So it doesn't have a good history of doing this, and the more that it struggles to get above a key moving average, like in this case the 200 moving average here in the green, the more that this is validated as a point of resistance, right? And the more stubborn that traders accept that resistance to be. So it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of volume for us to get above this. So I think in the short term, the most likely move is a move down. Now, again, I will continue to play this swing, but I think eventually what's going to happen is this pattern right here, this sideways channel, is going to be broken potentially to the downside. That's what I think is going to happen. And that's just based on momentum and volume, really. And then, you know, if we do break below this 100-week moving average, this is now the weekly. If we do break below this 100-week moving average, which the exact point right now is at 77.64, that's the dollar amount. If we do break below that, then I do think that the 50-week moving average is in the cards for us, and 6,800 is a very plausible support level before potentially continuing a rally upwards, either the end of the year or closer to the halvening in 2020. But looking at Bitcoin's volume, I mean, it's just abysmal. Here is Bitcoin's volume over the last 2 years. And each of these candles here, each of these bars here represents a 1 week time period. And if you look at where we're at currently, I mean, this is some of the lowest volume that we've seen in the last 2 years. And actually, if you look over the last 5 years, it even looks more abysmal. This is some of the lowest volume that we've seen in the last 5 years. And you can count ever, really, if we're talking about 5 years or longer, potentially these numbers are all-time lows here. Because before 5 years ago, we didn't really have the number of exchanges and volume that we're doing now. So if we can't even match the volume that we were seeing in 2015, I mean, that's a pretty bad sign for Bitcoin. On the flip side, you do tend to see periods of low volume before rallies, right? So if you look here before the June rally in March and April, we did have pretty low volume before ramping that up, and which drove the price of Bitcoin. And I always say this, there are no fundamentals in crypto, right? In crypto, we don't have earnings reports, we don't have sales revenue figures, we don't have a board of directors, we don't have balance sheets or income statements, right? All you have to go on, this price, the only thing that drives this price is one question: are people buying? That's really it. And when people are buying, you see the price tend to go up. And when traders aren't buying, then the price starts to decline. And that's actually the easiest way in crypto to see whether a rally is justified or not. When you see something rally, but is not accompanied by good volume, then you're going to tend to see that break down, right? So how do you spot a dead cat bounce or a bull trap, right? And the first thing I look at is the volume. Is that rally sustained by good volume or not? And if it isn't, then you can bet that rally is going to break down. Anyway, so that's my outlook in the short term on Bitcoin. In the long term, I do think obviously that we'll be breaking all-time highs. I mean, Bitcoin over the last 8-9 years has shown that time and time again. I've shown this before, but it's the Bitcoin price models on Woo Bull charts. If you see it here, I mean, it looks like really any other traditional market asset where it just continues to establish higher highs as time moves along. Now, it doesn't tell you when we're going to establish a higher high. So between, this period here in 2013 and this period here in 2013, that was what, like 6-7 months before it established a new high. But between, November, December 2013 and December 2017, that's 4 years before it established a new higher high. So, eventually I do think we will see a higher high, higher than 20K even, but obviously it might take years to happen. And I'm not really in this for fortune telling. I'm a trader first, so I don't really concern myself with when that's going to happen. I just play the charts as I see them. Let us look at XRP real quick. XRP continues to be one of the easiest trades to make, going all the way back to the summer of this year, really. After it hits this 23 to 24 cent support, we do tend to see it rally to 26 cents and up. And we continue to play the swing. Something else that I send out in the trade alerts as well. And we did buy XRP at 23 cents back here at the last week of September, and we're now up 23% on XRP. It continues to hold above the 100-day moving average here, this yellow line. And as long as it holds above that, you could set, if you're up on XRP, you could set a pretty tight stop limit below the wicks of the candles that are beneath the 100-day moving average here. But as long as it stays above the 100-day moving average, something that it hasn't done since July really, then I think we're in good shape to see a potential rally at least to 30 cents, 31 cents. And then, then we're going to need some astronomical volume to cross this level here, because this will definitely be a stubborn level of resistance. Now, we did get some news that Bank of America is testing Ripple, but it's not testing XRP, right? So a lot of crypto enthusiasts ask if Ripple is being implemented in all of these real world adoption use cases with big corporations, why isn't the price of XRP going up? Well, XRP is just a utility token, right? This is just the gas that runs on the X Rapid platform. And so not only aren't these corporations implementing X Rapid, but the coin itself doesn't represent a share of the company. It doesn't represent a share of the company Ripple. And that's that's been the argument, is XRP a security or not? Because, Ripple definitely uses XRP as a way to raise money to fund its other operations. You'll see here in this article on CoinDesk.com, you'll see XCurrent, the service that B of A appears to have at least tested out, does not involve XRP, the cryptocurrency that Ripple periodically sells to fund operations. The company definitely must have friends in high places, because I don't know any US based operation that could continue to sell a commodity or security like XRP to fund operations without it being regulated or taxed in some way. I don't know how they've gone this long. But yeah, like I said, I'm a trader first. So this right here is all I'm concerned with. All right, let's look at a couple of other cryptocurrencies. ZRX continues to hold above the 200-day moving average here. We see the mini golden cross between the 50 and the 100. I did send out an alert for this as well. BAT, I already talked about, so we won't go over it. Link is one that everyone's interested in, and Link is hitting a major point of resistance here. A level that we saw back in June and July. It is now attempting to get above that, but it is struggling. If you look at the volume that we had, back in May, June, and July, you see these tall green volume bars. This is on the weekly compared to now. And like I said, volume is the number one predictor of whether a rally can be sustained or not. And if we don't get more volume here, I do think that we will hit a wall and eventually break down on Link. And you'll see it back under the 30,000 sat mark. If you're trading and you don't know how to set stop limits yet or trailing stops, definitely learn that. I mean, it'll be one of your most useful tools in your trading game, because without that, you're going to be blowing all of the gains that you've made on these coins, right? All right, looking at the stock market real quick. The stock market is down today. We continue to play this back and forth game where we test the all-time highs, knock on the door, and then get rejected. I mean, that just shows you that it's susceptible to any piece of news at the moment, and that's not a good sign for the stock market. That does not indicate that there is a strong sentiment regarding the markets, right? If it's susceptible to any piece of news and it just continues to break down, after trying to get through all-time highs, then it tells you that the market itself is not unstable, but it doesn't have the strong sentiment needed to break through these all-time highs. So the Dow is down about 2/3%, S&P down about 1/3, and NASDAQ is down over 1%. Netflix, which I was looking at for a short, even though, it did see a historical, at least as it relates to 2019, a historical trading day yesterday. After it reported earnings, you see the momentum crowd jumping in, taking it to above the $300 level, but it quickly declined since then. So between yesterday and today, we are now seeing a almost 11.25% decline on Netflix. And I was definitely looking to short Netflix for a few reasons. One, Apple, the Apple's TV service, I think it's called Apple Plus or Apple TV Plus, and Disney's TV service or streaming service is coming out next month. And as you know, all of these big studios such as CBS, ABC, which is owned by Disney, have been pulling their content off of Netflix to start their own streaming services. And Netflix continues to be one of the most expensive, actually the second most expensive TV streaming service on the market today, right? So with the content, especially the important content, the number of pieces of content, of important content declining, Netflix cannot continue to remain at this price point. In my view, I think in order for it to survive and not see a tanking in its stock price, it's either going to have to sign some licensing deals with some popular content, or, start a couple of new shows that they hope will potentially be big hits, or they're going to have to cut their subscription fees per month, especially if you're a parent and all of the Disney stuff is now off of Netflix and it's on Disney streaming service. I don't think many parents are going to be struggling with, which streaming service to opt in if they can only afford one, whether it's Netflix, which is, a high price with no Disney content, or Disney, which is lower price than Netflix and has all of the content that their kids watch. So those reasons, along with the fact that Netflix is signing less and less people in the US. So although their subscriber base gained worldwide. In the United States, they only reported 500,000 additions for the last quarter, and the market was expecting 800,000 new subscribers, so they fell short on that number. So for that reason, I am looking at shorting Netflix in the mid to long term, definitely to at least this 250 level here, but a lot of analysts are saying that Netflix could definitely fall under $200 within the next few months. That is it for this video. Go ahead and sign up if you want access to the trade alerts. I send out stock and crypto trade signals, as well as those who sign up are entered into a 0.03 Bitcoin drawing that I do on the beginning of every month. On the first of every month, it's just a random drawing for all the diamond traders and above. If you want to take your trading to the next level and are having trouble with your technical analysis or would like to learn it if you don't know it, that same link is also in the description. We do one-on-one training video conferences with me. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, leave a thumbs up if you got anything out of this video. Comment down below if you have a question or a comment. Stay safe out there, traders. Peace.